New details this afternoon about the mysterious disappearance of a young woman in New Jersey.
Yeah, family and friends lost track of 25-year-old Stephanie Parze last week, just hours after she visited a psychic. Now her family is desperate to find her.
New Jersey reporter Anthony Johnson is live in Freehold with the details. Anthony.
Yeah, 25-year-old Stephanie Parze lived in the house right behind me. Her car is still in the driveway. Her parents came over to this home and they found her cell phone inside the living room. Now they're trying to hold out hope that she is still alive.
On the eve of Halloween in 2019, 25-year-old Stephanie Parze disappeared from her hometown in Freehold, New Jersey. At first, her family believed something was wrong almost immediately. Stephanie was close to her parents. She answered their calls. She answered their texts. She showed up for work. She never simply vanished. But within days, New Jersey was consumed by one terrifying question. What happened to Stephanie Parze? What followed became one of the most emotional and disturbing missing persons investigations in New Jersey involving allegations of domestic violence. Thousands of volunteers searching woods and highways, a suspect who died before he could face trial, and a grieving family that refused to stop searching for answers. Stephanie Parze grew up in Monmouth County, New Jersey, surrounded by family and longtime friends. Those who knew her described her as energetic, creative, and compassionate. She worked as a nanny and had a passion for beauty and special effects makeup. Friends remembered her as someone who loved Halloween, horror makeup, and spending time with the people closest to her. To her family, Stephanie was dependable and deeply connected to home life. That would become one of the biggest reasons investigators immediately feared the worst after she disappeared, because Stephanie did not cut off communications. She did not disappear voluntarily. Something had to happen. On October 30th, 2019, Stephanie spent time with family members before returning home later that evening in Freehold Township. According to investigators, that was the last confirmed time she was seen alive. The next morning, alarms started going off. Stephanie missed work. Her phone activity stopped. Friends and family could not reach her. Then another chilling detail emerged. Authorities began looking closely at her former boyfriend, John Ozbilgen. Investigators later revealed that Stephanie had recently filed a domestic violence complaint against him before her disappearance. Prosecutors also stated there had been a troubled relationship leading up to their case. Almost immediately, what began as a missing person investigation started turning into something much darker. As news coverage spread across New Jersey, hundreds of volunteers joined searches throughout Monmouth and Middlesex County. They searched and combed wooded areas, highways, abandoned locations, and remote trails. Stephanie's parents became the public face of the search effort. They appeared constantly in television interviews, begging for information and pleading for Stephanie to come home safely. The emotional toll became visible almost immediately. Every day without answers increased fears that investigators were no longer searching for a missing woman, but for a body. The case exploded on social media and local news stations. Flyers appeared across New Jersey. Community groups organized vigils and searches. The disappearance became one of the biggest true crime stories in the state. Investigators increasingly focused on John Ozbilgen, Stephanie's ex-boyfriend. Authorities later revealed several disturbing details. Stephanie had reportedly expressed fear before disappearing. There had been allegations of his controlling behavior, and investigators uncovered evidence tying him to areas relevant to the search. Then the investigation took another shocking turn. While Stephanie was still missing, Ozbilgen was arrested on unrelated child pornography charges. The public pressure intensified. Many believed investigators were closing in. But before prosecutors could formally charge him with Stephanie's murder, John Ozbilgen died by suicide in November 2019. For Stephanie's family, the possibility of ever seeing a courtroom trial vanished instantly. But investigators were not finished.
Tonight, a person of interest in the case of a missing New Jersey woman is dead, and many wonder if he took a secret with him. CBS 2's Tony Aiello has the new developments now from Freehold Township.
At the Parze family home, they are keeping vigil and counting the days. More than 24 since Stephanie Parze vanished. Now, the family is processing stunning news. Her ex-boyfriend, John Ozbilgen, a person of interest in the case, is dead. The Monmouth County prosecutor says Ozbilgen hung himself at his parents' Freehold home.
Then in January of 2020, nearly 3 months after Stephanie disappeared, investigators discovered human remains in a wooded area near Route 9 in Old Bridge, New Jersey. The remains were identified as Stephanie Parze. The announcement devastated New Jersey. For months, many had hoped Stephanie would somehow be found alive. Instead, the case officially became a homicide investigation.
We're following breaking news in New Jersey in the case of a missing woman.
Remains found in a wooded area off Route 9 have been identified. The medical examiner confirmed the gruesome discovery of Stephanie Parze. The 25-year-old disappeared on October 30th. She was last seen by her family in Freehold Township. Her father spoke just moments ago.
This is an extremely somber day for us. It goes without saying that our family is devastated, our friends, our community. And our lives are never going to be the same. However, Stephanie is home. She's coming home at last.
Today we announced that now deceased John Ozbilgen was responsible for the homicide of Stephanie Parze. This is a finding we had suspected since early November, but was only recently confirmed with further analysis of evidence that we had seized during our investigation.
Parze's ex-boyfriend, John Ozbilgen, who had been charged with child pornography, took his own life in November. He was never charged in her disappearance, but prosecutors say he was responsible for her death.
The Stephanie Parze case shook New Jersey because it felt terrifyingly close to home. There was no mysterious drifter, no unknown serial killer, no decades-old cold case. Instead, investigators believe the danger came from someone Stephanie once trusted. That reality made the story feel personal for thousands of people across the state. And while the criminal case effectively ended when John Ozbilgen's death, the emotional impact never truly disappeared. For many in New Jersey, Stephanie Parze became more than a headline. She became a reminder of how quickly domestic violence can turn deadly, and how families are often left searching for answers long after the camera disappears. And if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you're not alone, and help is available right now. Abuse doesn't always start with violence. Sometimes it begins with control, fear, manipulation, or isolation. Stephanie Parze's story is a heartbreaking reminder that warning signs should never be ignored. If you need help, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788. Support is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you enjoyed this video and want more stories from New Jersey history, true crime, and forgotten lives, subscribe to Tales from the Tombs NJ. Because every grave has a story, and every story deserves to be remembered.